Hi, this is the Sense Making Circle, and this is Ashanti, and I'm going to walk you through briefly what we worked on for the sense making effort. So, I want to start off by saying up front that we are not suggesting that this is the way to go in the future. There is always room for improvement. We thought long and hard about our approach. We reached out to people who do this for a living and got their advice, and they shared with us some of the techniques and ways that they do their sense making, and we took that advice and we applied that to the future of work sense making. And what you're looking at here is a mural board. So this is a copy of the future of work 24-hour mural board. It was important to copy the original because what we didn't want to risk losing any information or disturbing or disrupting the original future of work 24 hours mural board. So that's why it was important to have a clean board, because things start to get messy as you start to move things around, things get lost. So we approach this in layers. So this is one layer where we started, and you'll see the orange stickies on the right side. That is what we called our master list. So we went down the rows and we collected all of the topics from the sense making notes, from the session notes here. So for the sake of language, I'm going to call the rooms, and I'm going to call the session notes the stickies that were used, that were actually called session notes. I'm going to call this frame a room, and I'm going to refer to the sense making and vibes as the stickies that were over on the left side. So sense making and vibe stickies, session note stickies, and this whole entire thing, when put together, I'm going to call a room going forward. So we put together our master list, and we took that list and we bent each topic into a sticky. So so you can see, for example, now all of our rooms have their own sticky. So from the master list, we took the rooms and we created a sticky for each room. Then we clustered those rooms. So we decided what are the ones that seem to belong together. And that's where you're seeing the clusters. Now, if you notice, there's new colors here. So the green sticky is the theme that we thought was shared amongst the rooms. Now the rooms changed into specific colors. So the room was either blue because it had a topic but no context, so it was completely blank. Or there was a room that had a topic and only the session notes. Or we had a room with a topic and the sense making and vibes. And lastly, we would have a room and perhaps it had the topic, sense making, vibes, and notes. So the yellow stickies are the ones that have the more robust information, where it was completely filled out back to end. The blue sticky is on the other end, meaning there's a topic and nothing else. So there's a lot of assumptions that we can make. We can make the assumption that the group just chose not to take notes because there was more of a discussion, there was no need to, and they walked in their mobility. Or we can assume that the topic, no one ever entered the room to discuss the topic. From there, we had a discussion on whether or not we just wanted to focus on the sense making and vibes. and set aside the notes and not try to make any sense of the notes. In the end, we decided that we should look at everything holistically. So if you go up to this second layer of sense making, you'll see that's exactly what we did. So we we started to we brought all of the notes up from the various rooms related again to the topic. For example, this is human societal, right? And these are the rooms. So we took all of the session notes, sense making and vibes from these rooms, and we brought them up here. We color coded all of the notes to that pale yellow color, and we kept the sense making and vibe notes in their original colors because that was important to us, just from a visual perspective. And then we can quickly see what was sense making and vibes and what were the notes. We also attach the room number to the session notes so that we can trace things back. So that is important, traceability of these items. Because if we don't put some type of identifier or tag, it's hard to go back and figure out where to trace things back to or where they originated from. So that was very helpful. We also So that was very helpful. So the next thing that we did was that we started to look across the various themes and we talked about what is coming out of this. And so that's why you see the circles here. So the circles are some of the themes, like for example, in playful, there was some discussion of belonging, right? There was a discussion about trust, engagement, and connection. And so we did that across the various themes. This helped us to see what was bubbling up. And ultimately, what we did is we created a third layer, and this is about what emerged. So, what is emerging from all of this? And these are all of the items that we believe, not items, but themes that emerged, and what was really outstanding. So, play is in a star shape because it really seemed to take hold throughout the future of work. It kept popping up. It was its own theme, but also it was part of other themes as well. So we think that play is what the highlight really was, along with culture, belonging, connection, trust, value, power, and the idea of can small or is small better. And we left a note up here because there definitely was a lot of questions, and we want to visualize that questions in the future, questions now, and in the future element, because there definitely were a lot of people wondering, pondering about the future, and we wanted to acknowledge that in the visual. So what we did as well is we went back and we looked at the graphic recordings and we looked through to see what are some of the things that are popping out of the graphic recordings. So the reason we wanted to do this as well is because we wanted to see if we were on track with what we were sensing and what was coming out of the sense making exercise. And I believe, just based on what we could see, that we definitely was coming through, and that we feel like we're definitely on track in regard to what we're seeing and sensing out of all of this. So this is where we're at currently, and the next step is just to create the visual to go behind all of this. And so that's been our process. We definitely have a lot of notes. You can follow the Slack channel for as an artifact to see who we talked to, as well as some of the resources we used, and just follow along with our progress. So we also took some notes here on the board as well. So this is, I think, is a good artifact. Again, there could have been a million ways of doing this. I did play around with the word cloud as well. That's one way to see what type of words kept being used over and over again, right? But I'm sure there's some technology that could be used in the future. But this definitely is a intensive process, and so it's just something to think about whether or not this is something that will be beneficial in the future going forward. If this is something you guys want to continue to do, again, this is an experiment point 1.0. So, whether or not you want to venture down this road again, I definitely would defer to you all, or to all who are involved to discuss that. But it's definitely has been a journey for us. And again, we are looking forward to building the visual and presenting it out at some point. Thank you. Bye.